Greetings from Bloomington, Illinois. What a delight it is for me to be able to be your professor this term. My wife and I moved to Burlington in 2014 after living almost 20 years in Burlington, Iowa. We moved here to be close to our older son and our daughter. So this is going to be a stimulating and thought-provoking journey over the next 8 weeks as we learn together. There are so many excellent reading assignments. The discussion boards are going to engage us in depth and stir us to think and to experience many learning opportunities. You'll be challenged to think, to pray, to search the scriptures, to build a biblical foundation for leadership convictions and staff relationships, whether those staff are paid or they're volunteer. But let me tell you a little bit about myself. I try to provide some information that in here, some on the faculty information tab of Blackboard, as well as in my discussion board. Some, a little bit, may duplicate, but not all of it. One of the lessons my dad and mom taught me as a kid was that learning was to be a lifelong experience. They did that themselves. They took Moody correspondence courses. My mother listened to Moody Radio School of the Bible. My dad took classes in agriculture. They were farmers in western Illinois and were the key lay couple, in many ways the key couple, in planting a church in our country community in 1940. That church continues to thrive today, and it's a blessing to see how God has used it in a multifaceted way. My parents were really strong believers in Moody Bible Institute and its diverse ministry. At that time, as I was growing up, the Moody Institute of Science films came out, and they helped to translate it into Chinese. My older brother and his wife and my sister are graduates of Moody Bible Institute. Our 3 children and 2 of our daughters-in-law, or 2 of our in-laws, are graduates of Moody. We have 2 grandchildren who have graduated from Moody and their spouses. We have a grandson who is enrolled at Moody right now, and a couple of other grandchildren have taken courses from Moody. I began my pastoral ministry as a 19-year-old student at Moody. I traveled 200 miles by train every weekend. On Friday afternoon, I boarded the train down at Union Station and rode to Galesburg, Illinois, where my car was parked. I would get in the car and I would do pastoral ministry Friday night through Sunday night. Then about 2 o'clock Monday morning, I caught a train back to Chicago in time to arrive for breakfast and a busy week with Missionary Union and many other responsibilities in addition to studying. I loved my studies at Moody, and I loved the ability to put them into practice as I was learning. It put a whole different dynamic into learning, and that's what you're doing right now. As you minister, you learn some things, and you can try it out, see if it works. A week after graduating from Moody, I married Judy Crawford, another Moody graduate, and we celebrated 50 years of marriage this past June, and we still deeply love each other. We have 3 children. Andrew, our oldest, is involved with instructional quality at Moody Bible Institute, on campus, Michigan campus, online. His department is called Instructional Quality. It's quite an intriguing ministry that he has there. He finished his doctorate at Normal Community College. It isn't that, it's Illinois State University. I've lived through many names for that school. Yeah, it's Illinois State University. very enriching courses that he took, but he also got a lot of education in the process of what is being taught today. Then we have another son who at age 39 joined the Army. He has enjoyed that. Part of his Army responsibilities for 3 years was attending William and Mary College to obtain his jurisprudence degree. So today he is stationed in Fort Campbell, Kentucky, Tennessee. It's right on the state line, where he is a lawyer or a JAG officer, technically, for the Army. He anticipates going on to more schooling the coming year with the Army to continue to develop his skills. He has 10 biological children. The older 4 are married, and the youngest is 8. I didn't tell you about Andrew's family. He has 5 biological children, and then he has 6 special adopted children. 4 of them were adopted in the first 3 months of earthly life. The other 2 were quite young, 4 and 6. But as they have grown, it is obvious that they have significant psychological, emotional situations that are very complex and take a lot of attention. We were motivated to move here to help them with these children. So the youngest is 8, and they do well for how they're doing. Physically, they look like any other child their age. They just have some processing issues that are really challenging. They have 2 grandchildren. Stephen, our second son, has 4 grandchildren. I'm going to stop and think about this. No, Andrew has 3 grandchildren, and 2 of them just left for Spain within the past few weeks with their oldest son and daughter-in-law, or Andrew's oldest son. And then we have a daughter, and she also lives here in Bloomington. Her husband is a corrections officer up at Pontiac Correctional Center, a maximum security facility that gets the folks out of Chicago and St. Louis. A tough bunch of inmates. So that's kind of who they are and where they are. So Esther has 5 children, and the oldest 2 are married. And 1 child. So if you get that all added up, we have 3 kids. We have 26 grandchildren, and we have 8 great-grandchildren. I can still vividly remember my mom saying to me as a teenager, "Frank, you can't drive people like you drive hogs and cattle. You need to lead them like a shepherd leads sheep." That was a good lesson for me, augmented by a lesson that a cousin of mine had a ewe that had triplets, and he wanted to get rid of the runt. My dad had never had sheep on the farm as long as I was alive, and had vowed we would never have another sheep on the farm. But somehow he let me have that little sheep. Raising that lamb taught me so much about people and shepherding. Powerful lessons. God has used Judy and me to serve him in Herman, Illinois, Dallas, Texas, Pontiac, Illinois, Lindale, Texas, McHenry, Illinois, and Burlington, Iowa. I have been a solo pastor in a village. I've been a staff member in a mega church in a metropolitan area. I've served in many different capacities in pastoral ministry and love them all. And then in 2008, we joined an organization called Interim Pastor Ministries. I was trained to serve as an intentional interim pastor specialist to resolve conflicts and challenges within churches. And I served in Garner, Illinois, Iowa, in Williston, North Dakota, Derby, Vermont, and Minonk, Illinois. My passion as an interim pastor was to help the church recapture why Jesus wants their church to exist in their community this year and in the coming decade. Good question for all of us to discover and clarify. I love to equip people. I've helped many students through internships as part of their leadership training. Ephesians 4:12 is a passion of my life, to equip the saints to do the work of ministry. My van license plate says equipper, and that's my passion. It is so important that we learn the priority of character over skills for effective ministry leadership. And that character would impact not only us, but also that it would have an outflow in staff relationships, both paid and volunteer. I've already posted a number of announcements. Please take some time this weekend to read those just so you have a good handle on where we're headed. I've had students who didn't bother to read announcements and their grades suffered because of that. I give them material they need to learn, but they don't take advantage of it. So, that's who I am. I eagerly look forward to learning with you these coming 8 weeks. I welcome former students as well as students that are new to see who I am. I want to get to know you, to understand your ministry setting and how God is using you in whatever responsibility you have, whether you're a paid staff member or you're a volunteer. We're going to have a great time together over the next 8 weeks. God bless you.